Hello, today I want to share a object pool system that I made that I'll be also using on the Ghost Goblins game. So I just got right over here. It's I'm just using this pullable object and the object pool class, and that will work for all the objects and game objects of your game. So I will simply demonstrate how it's currently working. So let me start. So as you can see, I can pre-allocate the pool, and if I press the space, I activate the camera, and the camera has a simple script that just disable the object after some seconds, and the pullable object that I'm going to show after some seconds. Alright. Alright, so first I'll start by showing the pullable object. So basically the pullable object is a mono behavior that contains action that tells the pool that is responsible for this object that he needs to return to the queue of the object pool. And, and we do that on the on disable. That's why we reinvoke the return to pool and pass as an argument the object of the pulled object instance that we set on the object pool. Alright, right over here. Call this public method on the object pool. Okay, so let me also make this sealed. Alright, so I'll close this, and here on the object pool is where we do everything. So let's start by using statements. So basically we're just using the game object, the system type, the this is important. We're not using system object, but we're using the Unity engine object. All right, the scene manager that it's right over here, the scene and the component to just convert the game object. But I will show right down below. Um, so right here, you can see that it's not a model behavior, but a static class. A static class because this don't needs to be actually a model behavior. That's why I'm just using the static class. Um, and right here, everything will be static because this is a static class. And right here, I got the dictionary that contains all the pools in the current scene. And the key is a type of the object, and the pool that is generic, but it's the type of object so that we can store any kind of object right here. So this is a constant int that is just the default pool size that you can pre-allocate the pool right here. But if you don't do that, you can just create a new pool using this default pool size of 15. And here on the static constructor of this object pool, um, we just subscribe to the scene unloaded of the scene manager and just uh, listen to this method, and when the scene is unloaded we just clear the pools. The reason why I'm not using scene loaded is because you can also load the next scene, but while the next scene is being loaded you can also uh, still be active in your current scene, and that may cause some errors right here. That's why we just clear the pools after we get off the current scene. All right. The clear pools just clear the method. We just clear all the items that contains inside the dictionary, and the pre-allocate pool just expect and target object and the pool size. Uh, I'm using pool size on the pre-allocate pool because if you're pre-allocating, you need to pass as an argument the the amount of objects that you want to pre-allocate, and then we just get the type of the object and check if the dictionary contains. If it is equals to false, we just register new pool. That the method is right. It's down there, but I'll just keep scrolling one method one by one right here. But that's basically it. The pre-allocate pool just register a new pool of this target object that we pass as our argument. In our case, the camera prefab. That is the type is the camera type. Alright? We're not pre-allocating the camera gaming object, but we're pre-allocating the camera object. Alright? It's not a gaming object, it's an object. Next, we got the pool object, the generic pool object method. And right here, just get the type of the object that we want to pull. And we check if the pools dictionary contains this object type right here. Just retrieve the pulled object of this type right here as T, like the object that we want right over here. In our case, the camera. All right, you can see that we pass the camera right here, and he gets the object type and return as a camera. And then, but else if the dictionary does not contain the pull object, the object that we want to pull, then we just register a new pull of this type right here, and then return the new object from the new pull that we just created. And here we're also casting to the T type. And here we got the pull object is a overload of this method. And basically it's the same thing but with game object. So it's basically the same thing but here we just cast instead of T, we cast as a game object and then return. If it does not contain, we just register and return as getting game object as well. This get game object is an extension method from the game object class. But I will show that later, actually from the object class. Alright, so here we got the retrieve pulled object that just expects a type, and then we just directly access the dictionary and on this key, because the dictionary contains the type and the pool of this type. So we just access this type and the pool. We just pull directly the object because we don't need to check if the dictionary contains the key because we already checked that here. All right, and here on the register new pool, we expect the object that we're going to create a new pool and the pool size. The pool size is if you don't pass nothing as an argument, we are just going to use the default pool size that is 15. And then we just create a new pool of this type. The pool expects the object to pool and the pool size. So we just create a new pool passing on the constructor arguments these parameters from the method. And then we just add to the dictionary using the pool to pool object type and the new pool instance that we created right here. And here's the extension method from the object class. Basically, when you return the item as T, if you're using this method right here, you cannot cast directly as game object like this because Unity says that you cannot convert generic T to game object. That's why you just need this extension method to just check if it's a component, game object, and just return as game object for all the times. Else we just return null. It's just a cast method right here that we're using on the pool object and also on the pool class. All right. I guess it's right here, right here. Okay, so basically the pool class is a private class inside the static class object pool, and just the generic type will be object. Here we got a QE of the generic T type, and here this is important, uh, but I'll not talk about a lot about this for now because we're just using uh, at the end of the class. And here we also got the Poolable Object Dictionary with int as a key and the Poolable Object as a value. And that will make sense later. Uh, but here just got the constructor that just get the type and initialize the pool using the pool size and the pool object type. Then we got the pool object as a generic, and here we just check if all the objects are outside the QE, they are active. Then we just instantiate a new object, and then just got the QE method that return this object that we just created. And then we just get the pool object dictionary on the pulled object get instance ID. The key is basically the get instance ID of this object. Every object has this get instance ID. That's why we're using the int key. And we subscribe to the event that the object returns to the pool and call this onReturnToPool method. This onReturnToPool method basically just include again the object that just returned as a T. We just made a make a basic cast right here, and again we just unsubscribe from the event of this object to stop listening because it's not necessary. All right. So basically, on the initialize pool is just making a for loop that just instantiate new objects according to the pool size. And this instantiate new pool object, we just instantiate the object as a T right here, and instantiate the pool object type that we set on the constructor. Then we call this initialize pool object that just add the component pullable object, and that's why we're casting here. We need to get the game object. Then just add to the dictionary the this object instance ID, and the pullable object component that we just added right here. And then we just call this set pulled object instance method inside the pullable object and pass as argument the object that we just instantiated right here. All right. And then you just set active to false because if you're pre-allocating, you don't want to have multiple active objects in your scene. That's why we just set the active value to false. And then we just include the object instance that we just created inside the pool QE data structure. All right. Okay, so I just made a little improvement here using this attribute that don't allow you to add multiple components into the same game object because you may got your prefab right here and you already added the pullable object, and then on the object pool you add again. That's why I just made this change right here, that we first check if we can get the component and then initialize the pullable object like we were doing before. Else just initialize again, but adding the component. Alright, so that's it. That's all we need to make this object pool system work. it's it works well. And if you can make some changes. Uh, but I guess this is good for many scenarios, and you don't need to change nothing if you don't want, because it will be working. As an example, let me show again here, but without pre-allocating the pool. So basically, if we press play and press the space key, you can see that it pre-allocates all these other camera objects after we press it the space, because of the default value right here. Where is the method? Right here. Because we already pulled the object without pre-allocating, that's why we just created this bunch of instances. And then we just go creating and decoding the game objects, the objects that we just created. All right. So yeah, that's it. That's it for this pool. That's it for this pool system. It works well. You can see that basically the prefab that we got right here is just the main camera. And if we create new instance, you can see that we just pre-allocate more as we need. All right. So yeah, that's it for this poll tutorial. I'll be using this system on the Ghosts and Goblins game, so it will make more sense there. Okay, yeah, that's it. I hope you'll like it, and I'll see you in the next video.